and welcome to another episode of Brettcast Movie and TV Talk. So this is purely a discussion, and I'm not stating anything as a fact, and this is more of a what if type of thing, or speculation if you want to call it that, but that's not something I do. But this is all in the sake of fun anyway. So let's talk about the DCEU, shall we? So the DCEU, or the DC cinematic stuff, extended universe, whatever the hell they go by, came onto the scene not too long after Marvel Studios started having its success. It started with Man of Steel in 2013, and I, for one, actually like that film. I do like the original Superman movie as well, but I was not that much of a fan of Superman Returns. So when this came along, it became my favorite Superman movie. The story was great, the action was some of the best action in a Superman movie I've ever seen. I especially enjoyed that Lex Luthor was not the enemy, and instead they had villains that could contend better with Superman, more so than Lex Luthor could without a kryptonite-powered mech suit. Still, I like this film, and the portrayal of Superman is just great. After that, we got Batman v Superman, which we got 3 years later. This movie, we got to see the new Batman with Ben Affleck playing the character. I personally like Batman v Superman as just a popcorn movie, because there's a lot of problems if you look at the film in detail. Some of that is fixed with the extended edition, and that's both good and bad. It's good because those parts that got clipped we can finally see and get a full understanding of what happens in the movie. But this is bad because the only way to get the extended edition is buying the Blu-ray of the movie. Some people are not going to shell out that kind of money or may not have a Blu-ray player anyway, so many people will still be left utterly confused. I have the extended edition. It's the only version of the film I will watch because otherwise it makes no sense. Okay, I'm not supposed to be explaining these films as that's not the point of this video, so I'm going to speed things up here. So then we got Suicide Squad, and then Wonder Woman, and finally we got the Justice League. If Batman v Superman started the ship sinking, then Justice League is the cannonball that fell and ended it. After having seen Marvel's Infinity War movie, and then trying to watch Justice League, there is no comparison here, and that I agree with, but I don't think it's very fair of a comparison. If anything, you should compare it to Avengers Age of Ultron, which, as much as people say it's the worst Avengers movie, it's still miles better than Justice League. To put simply, Justice League was poorly written, rushed, poorly edited, bad tone, and most of all, poorly directed, even with having two directors work on the film. I'll give my opinion on why I think Justice League failed more than those things I already said. See, with the first Avengers movie, we had Captain America, the first Avengers, Iron Man 2, Thor, and the Incredible Hulk that all led up to the first Avengers movie. We knew all the individual characters before the big team up. With Justice League, we had Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, and Wonder Woman. So when Justice League came out, the only characters we were really familiar with are Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman. So on top of being a team film, Justice League also had to familiarize us well enough with Aquaman and Cyborg. That's why I think the movie failed. If the Aquaman and Cyborg movies came out before Justice League, I think Justice League would and could have been more successful, and they would have had more time to work on it, which would have helped there as well. So with all that out of the way, what do we still have here? Do we even have a DC universe cinematically after Justice League? From what I've been able to dig up, they have Aquaman coming out at the end of this year, Shazam in 2019, Wonder Woman 2 in 2019, Cyborg in 2020, and Green Lantern Corps in 2020. Please remember that these are just possibilities, and in no way am I telling you these films are happening for sure. I read an interesting article that the Cyborg in Justice League may not be seeing another big screen appearance and is supposed to be part of smaller projects like the Teen Titans show and Doom Patrol show, both of which are being produced as a part of the DC Universe streaming service. But what about the 2020 Cyborg film that's supposed to happen? I honestly don't care if Shazam's film happens, as most that I've read of him, ironically, were in some Cyborg comics. He seems to be another Superman type of character. I could definitely see, well, not definitely, I could very possibly see Wonder Woman 2 more so than any of the other films, as her first movie did very well and probably made more money than Justice League did. So I find it highly possible that Wonder Woman 2 may see the light of day. I am sure there are people who would love to see another Green Lantern movie, as you all know the first Green Lantern movie. But that's another one I don't see happening anytime soon. The only one that I still think is happening is the Aquaman movie, which is supposed to come out December 21st, 2018. There are other rumors floating out there, like a Birds of Prey movie, which they're apparently going to introduce Batgirl to the DC cinematic universe. With that, a Batgirl movie that Joss Whedon was going to direct, but apparently he said he can't think of a good story for the character, which, I mean, I've never read any Batgirl comics, but I find that hard to believe. Apparently, Steven Spielberg wants to direct the movie Black Hawk, a movie about special World War II pilots or something like that. Heck, there was even mention of Suicide Squad 2 in a possible Deathstroke movie. I don't know, but those are just rumors, and that's fine. But I love how none of these rumors are about Justice League 2. Like, the end of Justice League had a decent setup with Deathstroke and Legion of Doom, and that would make a great villain setup for the next Justice League movie. I know there are people that think at this point the DC cinematic universe should either be given up on or rebooted again because the ship has already been sunk and nothing could possibly fix it. I've already seen the articles that Aquaman is going through reshoots and somehow this film is going to save the DC universe. Well, how can you say that if you haven't seen the movie, though? Something that doesn't make sense is that on the wiki page for the DC Cinematic Universe, yes, I know, it's not that great of a source, but hear me out. They say that the Aquaman movie is supposed to take place after the events of Justice League. So already, based on the possibility of that being true, will we not even get the origin story for Aquaman? I'm not taking it as true, and I'm not saying it's a lie either, as we will have to wait for the movie to come out. If Aquaman really does revitalize the DCEU, then the films, I will say, are more possible to come out are Wonder Woman 2, Cyborg, The Batman, and Suicide Squad 2. But that's all I have to say, so if you want to add to the conversation, leave a comment below. As always, thanks for listening, and goodbye.